All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. We have a special episode today. We have a guest with us. Our guest today is Luc Primeau. Now, Luc is currently a student at the University of British Columbia in the Sauder School of Business. And the reason we have Luc on today is because he actually worked with me for a few days. He kind of came in and did a little bit of intern stuff and watched how the trading all went down. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, a little bit about his experience in school, and just some general market stuff. Luc, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Good to see you.
It's good to see you as well, my man. I know it's been a long time. Hopefully, get to catch up soon, more informally than this. But yeah, dude, if you're ready to go, I'm just going to jump right into the questions.
Yeah, all good.
Awesome. So, Luc, I know we talked a little bit about in your introduction that I did for you. Um, about you coming in and watching me trade for a few days. What was your initial, I guess, reaction? Was it what you thought it was going to be? What were some things you took away? Like, just give me the initial experience. What did it look like to you? Like, what were some things you were like, oh wow, I didn't know that, or that's interesting.
Yeah. Well, like prior to that, I really had no experience with like in the finance world. Like, of course, I'd heard some like stuff from my parents, but like never any firsthand experience. So I showed up in I think I was in like a polo, some nice dress shoes, some dress pants, thinking it was gonna be like I didn't know what to expect. I thought it was gonna be like lots of people like running around the place going crazy. And I show up and then you answer the door, you're wearing like shorts, like you're all like chill. And I was like, okay, this is great. Like it's totally like not what I was expecting, but in a good way. And then just walking into the office, I was taken back honestly, because like I think your desk probably had like six monitors. You had speakers blaring, like firing out news constantly. Then you had like Ethan's desk over there, same setup. So that was just all so new to me and really interesting. Like how fast like news can affect everything you're doing. Like you hear something, okay, I'm gonna do this now, and like you have so many different things you're tracking on different screens. Yeah, it was amazing just to see that.
Yeah, dude, it was a lot of fun. We had a couple fun days there for sure. We definitely do things a little bit unorthodox. I know if you go to probably New York and you look at a trading floor, people are probably wearing nicer clothes than what I was wearing that day. All right. So, in the introduction, I mentioned to the audience that you're currently studying business at the Sauder School of Business. Tell me a little bit about that, and more specifically, tell me, has there been anything that you've learned in school that maybe was applicable, or you thought, oh, this, I see some correlation between this and what we were doing in the office on the trading desk. Yeah, maybe walk me through your university experience so far, and if there was any kind of overlap with what we were doing.
Yeah. What with solder, like especially at the start, it's super general. And then I think it's after second years when you specialize. So like let's say if I was gonna go into finance, that'd be third year when I actually start that. So I haven't actually had any classes that are really like, dedicated to finance. But I think there's definitely been like a lot of classes that touch on that. So I had this class COM 190, quantitative decision making. And so that wasn't like really exactly the same, but then we touched on factors and like even graphs that look the same and kind of like how numbers can change things like that. But yeah, like I think the biggest connection I've noticed is like that the interdependence between things. So like even though if it's not financial, like let's say I don't know, I'm learning something in econ or I'm learning something in COM 101, that class I was just telling you about. Just how like one thing can affect another, which is like super similar to what you were talking about, how like one event can change this and then it affects this stock and then now you want to go look at that. I think that's kind of been the biggest correlation. I think second year is when like I'll really dive more into it. Like I think I'll have a class actually for finance, and that's when I'll kind of explore it more. But yeah, so far it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, man. I remember now it's coming back to me. It's been so many years, but yeah, third year I guess is when you specialize. Are you thinking about specializing in finance?
I don't know, like I'm really open to almost everything. I think like it's definitely up there because I had that experience with you, and I think it was really cool. Um, to being honest, I went to this. I think it was UBCFA, the Finance Association. They had like this kind of seminar meeting at the start of the year. I went to that, and that almost like deterred me a little bit, just because there was a bunch of guest speakers, and they were just talking about uh, like 80-hour weeks, how competitive it is, and all this stuff. Which I do love the competitive side about it, but the way they were talking about was almost like, oh gosh, like this is like a lot. But then
Hmm.
again, like I think I need to like rethink like how I actually had personal experience in it. And like being with you, like yes, it is like we're getting up early and it's a lot of work, but I think you can almost make it enjoyable. Like if you can make any career enjoyable, then that's what you want to do. And so I think it's important, yeah, to like think back to my experience and know that it may be daunting hearing it at first, but just that you can always find like the good in things. So yeah.
Yeah, dude, 100%. Those early mornings aren't easy, but you always have the option to move to Toronto, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
for sure, make it a little bit easier on yourself. So I remember when you were with me in the office, I remember telling you to come in early because I wanted you to kind of see the, sort of the preparation work that went into preparing your trades for the day. And then when the market opened, I remember sometimes when I had a position on or something was going on, I was like, Luke, you got to just not talk for 15 minutes just so I can like get through this 15 minutes and then like we'll debrief after and go through everything. I'll answer all your questions. But I remember there was a couple moments where I was like, not rude to you, but oh, okay, we got to pause the questions for just 1 second because I need to really focus in here. Tell me a little bit about what you felt regarding the energy. Like, could you, when you were watching the trades go down, like, was that sort of scary to you, or were you like, man, this is so cool, or like, what was your response to sort of seeing that and hearing me basically say, Luke, you got to zip it.
Yeah. Um, I think coming from a background in sports, like my biggest connection to that feeling was like being an intense moment of game. And like I love that energy. Like I yeah, of course like you weren't trying to come off rude and it wasn't rude at all, but it was like okay, like now it's go time and like it was really fun seeing that, just like seeing how you operate and like once that hits, like how you're reacting to everything. I think this was really cool. Just like the idea of like, trying to get a win is what I thought about. Like, can I get a win out of this? Can I get a win? Yeah. And so that was really cool seeing how like it just locks down and you like your focus just goes right onto that. And it was pretty cool. And then I think during all that, I was like writing down questions because like everything just goes so fast and it was so cool to learn on the fly. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like just that energy of like, okay, it's go time and like now we're gonna go to work. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, it's some days the focus doesn't help and the trade goes against you, right? But like you always have to be focused and ready to go, right? So it's so funny you bring up sports because I wasn't going to actually even ask you this, but I think sports. Yeah, you tell me. You think your experience in playing, you played basketball in high school, you also did track and field. Do you think your experience in sports, it sort of translates to trading? There's a lot of parallels. It requires a lot of the same skills. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I would. I think it's yeah, like sports teaches you a lot about yourself, and then of course also being able to like handle pressure, be like working under those high pressure environments. So I think there's like that's probably the biggest transferable skill, just like being able to remain calm, and then I think what separates people is like the ones who can elevate their performance when they feel these things. I think that's really important, and so that's something like athletes can probably bring into the financial world for sure.
For sure, dude. Some of that Mamba mentality, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Not that
100%.
I'm not in any way, shape, or form saying I'm anything like Kobe, but over the 5 days, was there any moment or yeah, any instance that stood out to you that you were like, oh, this is crazy, or this is maybe it was dumb, or this looks super exciting. Like, tell me what stuck out to you in those few days that you were with me. I just so the audience knows and they can get a better idea about trading and what we do. Yeah, what was memorable for you?
Yeah, I think so. One of the first things was just like how you guys outlined that the model you have. Like you had that, I think it was a massive piece of paper with kind of like your rules that you said, like, oh, don't like, don't hang on to a loser, all this kind of stuff. I think that was really cool because you really emphasized to me like trading based on your model and based off like numbers rather than just like intuition and feeling, which I think was really important because something that really stuck out to me, like I think what happened was I was there for 4 days and then I went on a trip on the fifth one. And on the fifth day is when you won big, but I didn't get to see that. So a lot of what I saw were like more of the losses. But the biggest thing was no, not to like knock you because I
No, of course, no, it
yeah, it was
happens,
just like the timing.
dude. Of
Yeah.
course,
But I think it was like the fact that you were able to accept one and just get out of it early. Whereas like I think if I was thrown into that situation, like someone unexperienced, like I know for me, this is probably like a skill that I need to work on is when something goes bad, I'm always focused on like, okay, how can I fix this instead of like rerouting myself and trying something else. So I think like if I was in that situation, I probably would have just like wrote it out or see if like, okay, maybe it'll turn around, which of course could hurt you a lot more. And so I think that's one was something that really stuck out to me, like your ability to like, okay, this is not working out. Like I gotta get out of it now and limit what I lose now so that I can come back later, which is really important, I think.
For sure, dude. For sure. Yeah. Always clip the losers. Make sure you can always fight another day, right?
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of losers to be able to do that. So I definitely know the skill all too well.
Yeah.
So let's now fast forward to the future, or actually fast forward to the present. Now that you're in your routine, you're in school, and you're studying business. Like after coming into the office with me, how has your view on the markets and stocks changed? Are you still sort of keeping up with the markets? I know you and I have had a few discussions after you came in over the past few years about stocks and investing in ETFs and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, just maybe tell the audience what you do to kind of stay on top of the markets, if at all, or maybe you're not interested. But yeah, I'm curious to hear.
Yeah. Um, well, to be honest, I should probably be following a lot more. Like recently, I have got back into it because it's my birthday on Friday, so that's when I'm 19 and I can have my own account. So I was looking at stuff last night actually. Um, but yeah, I think like in solder they even have like screens up that kind of like keep you updated with everything. And then like the phone has a great app, just like the stocks app. Just check that every day, and you can like put like pin certain stocks you want to watch. Um, and I think like a big part is also like keeping up with current events and how that influences things. So like I heard recently, like with Maduro's capture, like when he was captured, he's wearing a Nike tech, and the Nike stock just boomed apparently after that. Um, so I think it's
I
yeah,
didn't
it's
know that.
important.
That's a good little tidbit. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's cool just to like be able to hear these events and know how it's going to impact the stock market. And yeah, I think like moving forward, I'll definitely get more into it just because like right now with school, yeah, there's not much of a financial focus just because it's so broad. But yeah, into next year for sure, like it's going to become a much larger part of my education. I think that will also help like bleed into my personal life. And then yeah, of course, like starting Friday, once I get my own account, I think that's gonna like increase a lot because I'm gonna want to like keep up with my stuff and check every day. But yeah,
For sure, for sure. Yeah, the final question I'm going to ask you is, since you're in school and you're probably starting to learn a little bit more, maybe not learn, you probably, knowing you, you've probably already known this, but you're starting to now live it. Um, Budgeting and kind of managing your money and making sure, we can't just Uber Eats all the time. Like, tell me, what is one piece of financial advice you could give to somebody your age that you think is valuable?
yeah, yeah. Well, just in terms like personal finance, like so at UBC at least, like when you go into dorms, you have to be on meal plan. So that's like how it works for all first years. So like I'm
Okay.
paying for the dorm and then I'm also paying for the dining hall. And I guess it's just what like my Chinese mother has like instilled within me, but like, getting the most bang for your buck. So my biggest thing is just like I'm like even if there's better food on campus, I'm like trying to always go dining hall. And like I am trying to like put on some weight right now just for track, just to get a little heavier, a little faster. So I'm like trying to eat 4 or 5 times a day and just like it's all you can eat too. So like getting everything I can. Um, it's hard balancing that because like I have a bunch of guys who like also aren't on campus. So whenever they come to campus, they're like, oh, let's get eats. And like, there's been times when I'm like, oh, like, man, I just want to like, you don't want to have to spend money if you don't have to. I'm already paying so much for this dining hall, like, might as well go there. So yeah, just like balancing that, like, because you still want to go with your boys, like, have good times with them. So like, being able to balance that, that's probably the biggest thing I noticed because like I know so many people who they don't love the dining hall food, which is I guess fair. But their solution is like, okay, I'm just gonna order food every day. Like my roommates across the hall are like Uber Eats every day, which would just add up and pile up. So I think that's the biggest thing. Another thing with that is like started working in August for Nike. And the main thing my dad told me was like bring a lunch because if you're working for minimum wage and you go out and get a meal, that's just like an hour or so gone of your money. So just like thinking ahead and like trying to save all that you can is probably really influential. Um,
100%.
and then the last thing I would say is just like I mean, I'm starting now because I'm 19, but like just like getting yourself into the world of finance, like with today's technology and everything, it's so accessible and you can learn almost everything you need. Um, and you preach this to me, like this is where I learned all this from. But yeah, like starting when you're 19, I think is so important because like those few years can mean so much down the road. So yeah, like I'm gonna try to get on this right now, start an account, start looking at everything, and then yeah, go from there.
I wish I'd started right when I was 19, but whatever, we learn from our mistakes. I'm never going to make that mistake again. I'm missing a year. But final question for you, buddy. In the spirit of the podcast and the new name change that we have, the pod is now called That Makes Zero Sense. What is something you see people on campus doing with their money that you see it and you're like, genuinely, that makes zero sense? Like, give a little call. You don't have to call anyone out, but call those people out. Be like, that makes no sense to me. Why are you doing that kind of thing?
Yeah. Um, well, my roommate, he's a huge sports bettor, like huge. And this started like back in high school. I was like part of it too, but I was way more like I was just putting like small amounts of money in. And actually my dad's into it now too, but like I think that's a big thing. Like his is okay because he's not throwing around like a bunch of money. But just the other day, like this, my one of my best friends, his roommate, I'm in the dining hall with him, and he just throws down $1,000 on Indiana. I
Jeez.
mean, it hit. It did hit. But like he's doing this on other stuff. Like he didn't even watch the game. Or there's guys, yeah, who are just like I think he was just like tuned into the Knicks game. He doesn't even know any of the players, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna throw 1,000 on this. Like, of course, he has the money to throw around, but it's just like for me, I can't like picture that. Like, it's just crazy to me. And even some of the guys on my floor, like the guy next to me, he says apparently he makes like a steady income from blackjack, which is like doesn't make sense. Like it statistically, it shouldn't make any sense. But he showed me his bank account, and apparently it's working. And then some other guy from California, he said he paid for his full like his tuition's a lot because he's international. I think he's paying like over 60K a year, and he said he covered that whole thing from sports betting. So I mean, I don't know what to believe here because like that's a lot of money, and I don't know how he made that, but it is just like when I hear that, I'm like, wow, like I don't even know like how to react. Like that's just like it's a lot of money for kids like this age. It's pretty crazy, but it's happening. It's happening like quite a bit.
Hey, if it's happening for them, great, and I wish them continued success. I mean, it's almost hard to believe, but if they're truly making that kind of money, I mean, all the power to them. I can't do
Yeah,
it. I've
yeah.
never had any success sports betting, or maybe a little bit of success at the casino every now and then, but
Okay,
not
okay.
not on that level. No, no,
Yeah.
sir. Um, yeah, Luke, that's those are all the questions I have for you. Is there anything you want to add, or are you all good?
I think I mean I don't know if you're like I mean you are in Worcester now at the house. Um but just to anyone, like if you can get like firsthand experience, I know like it really helps at my like I knew Lyle and I knew Ethan. But if there's any way like anyone listening can get firsthand experience, I think it's so important. Like I went into this thing with you pretty much knowing nothing and I left like learning so much. It was just every day asking questions.
Thank you.
And it was great because you made it an environment where like I could ask a dumb question and you would still answer. Like there was no judgment, which was great because I think I was firing off questions like over and over because like this is all so new to me and I was like, wow, this is insane. I think that's like the best way you can learn. It's just throwing yourself out there and experiencing it firsthand. It's really amazing. Like a textbook and a class can only take you so far, but really being there is truly special. So
Hmm.
yeah, if any of you guys can get firsthand experience or just immerse yourself somehow, even if it's for like a couple of days, I would recommend that because it's served me well for sure.
100%. And I'll say two things on that. Number one being watch someone trading professionally to get firsthand experience. Like you said, once you turn 19 or even before that, if your parents have an accountable for you, I mean, you can pay for a very Wall Street Journal is super cheap. Barron's is super cheap. Read about the markets, learn how things move in the economy, why they move the way that they do, watch when an event happens and what happens to oil, what happens to gold, what happens to 10-year yield. Watch these things happen in unison when an event happens. There's so much you can learn. Like you said, there's so many resources. You can go on ChatGPT, ask a trillion questions. You have a personal assistant basically for $30 a month if you want to pay for the premium version. So that's the first thing I'll say. And the second thing I'll say about dumb questions, you just ask Ethan the next time you see him when I started how many absolutely dumb questions I asked. It's the only way you can learn. And he never, ever batted an eye. It was just, let me answer it. You got it. Great. Let's go. And that's just the way it's got to be. You have to be comfortable asking the what you think is a dumb question is you just trying to learn. So that's my message for everybody based on what you just said. So thank you for saying that. Um, yeah, buddy, that's awesome. I don't have any other questions for you. This is gonna be a great episode. I'm super fired up to post it on Friday. I wish you all the best in school, my man, and take care.
Thank you so much for having me. It was amazing talking. Good to hear from you again. And yeah, hopefully we'll connect in the future.
Of course, my man. I'll see you very soon. You take care, okay?
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy. Bye bye.
Have a good one.
The content of this podcast is provided for informational and educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. The views and opinions expressed by the host and any guests are solely their own and do not reflect the views of any employer, firm, or affiliated institution. Any examples or strategies discussed are general in nature and may not be appropriate for your personal circumstances. Always consult a licensed financial advisor or other qualified professional before making any financial decisions. The host and production team assume no liability for any loss or damage resulting from reliance on the information provided in this podcast.